Hello students, this is Dipali Sharma. So we are going to summarize our lesson, our life support lesson number 12. So as you already know that there are so many things which supports our life, like food which gives us energy, water which is essential for drinking, and similarly air which is essential for our breathing as it provides us the oxygen. So there are different factors present in the environment which are essential for our life. One of that is the air. So the air around us is a mixture of gases and it is present like a blanket of the air around the earth's surface, and that blanket is known as our atmosphere. So the air we breathe, the rain, the clouds, these all things are present in our atmosphere. So this atmosphere is held by the force of gravity. So what is the function of atmosphere? Atmosphere protects us from the UV radiation which hits on the earth's surface, and it also prevents the earth from the hitting of the meteors. And it contains oxygen and carbon dioxide which is essential for our living. That is for oxygen for animals to breathe, and the carbon dioxide is essential for the plants to make their food. There are different layers of atmosphere present, which each layer having a definite is present at a definite distance and having a definite function. So first layer is the troposphere. This is the layer where the atmosphere, the weather changes of our takes place. So this is the layer where weather changes occur. Next is the stratosphere. This is the second layer, and it is the layer where the most of the aircrafts fly, and in this layer the ozone is present, and thus the ozone is the main gas, or the ozone layer is the main layer which prevents us from the UV radiation coming from the sun. Next is the mesosphere. This is the third layer, and meteoroids and etc. moving in the space all get burned out in this layer, and we see stars also in this layer. Next is the thermosphere. This layer is the fourth layer, and all the space shuttles moves in this layer. And last one is the exosphere, and this is the outermost layer, and beyond this is our space. So the air around us is very essential for our living. We use air in various ways. For example, like we require air for breathing. We take in the oxygen present in the atmosphere or in the air, and this oxygen is transported to different parts of the body by the blood. Similarly, by the blood, the carbon dioxide is transported back to the lungs, and we exhale out the carbon dioxide. Another use is that air is needed for burning. So whenever you burn a candle, that candle is burning in open environment, but if you place a jar over it, what happens is there is no air present inside the jar, so the candle stops burning. So this proves that air is essential for burning, especially the oxygen present in air is essential for burning. Other uses of air which we see are like kite flying, paragliding, for football, because if the football has no air inside it, it will not roll. For basketball example, it will not bounce. So there are different ways in which we use air, like converting the wind energy into electrical energy for sailing boats and for the aircraft or jet flying. So let's see what is the composition of air, as the air is a mixture of gases. So air consists of the oxygen, nitrogen, carbon dioxide, water vapor and many other gases, and dust, dirt, smoke, etc. So oxygen is present in 21% of amount, and it is the most important gas present in the atmosphere, as it is essential for the survival of living being. And the other is the nitrogen, which is not taken up by the animals or the living beings directly, but they consume it indirectly, like by plant take it by the bacteria present in the soil, and animals take it by the plants, meat and fishes. Third one is the carbon dioxide, and it is the most important gas for the plants, as the plant require carbon dioxide for making their food. Similarly, other gases are also there: hydrogen, ozone, helium, argon, krypton, etc. And the one thing also present there is the water vapor. These water vapors are formed by the evaporation of the water bodies, and these tiny droplets are suspended in the air or the atmosphere and forms the water vapor, and later on after condensation they falls in the form of rainfall. Next is the properties of air. So air has weight. If we inflate two balloons and balance them, they will weigh equally. But if when we prick one of the balloon by a pointed object or a pin, then the balloon which is inflated will weigh more. So this state that air has weight. Next is that air occupies space. If you place a empty bottle in a jar filled with water directly by touching its rim, the water will not enter into the bottle. But if you tilt the bottle a little bit and then you dip it into the jar, the water will move inside and air bubbles will move out. So there is a space occupied by the air, and that space is left by the air in that second time when we tilt the bottle, then the water moves only inside the bottle. So this proves that air occupies space. Next is air exerts the pressure. So when you use a syringe, when you by pushing the plunger you move out all the air, and then after when you pull the plunger, air is present inside that, and that air applies the pressure, and because of that the liquid moves into the syringe. This proves that air applies pressure. Air applies approximately 1 kg per centimeter, 1 kg of pressure per square centimeter. Next is air exert pressure in upward direction. So when you fill a glass with water and leave a little space so that air is filled up there, and then if you place a cardboard over it and if you invert the glass, what happens is that the cardboard will not fall down, because the atmosphere is applying a pressure in the upward direction which is not allowing the cardboard to fall down. So this proves that air applies the pressure in the upward direction. Next is that air exerts pressure in downward direction. So if you take a bottle and make 2 or 3 holes in it and seal the holes with a tape, and then fill the water in the bottle, leaving a space inside it a little bit, and then covering or sealing the cap. So when you remove the tape, the water will not move out, because the air present in the bottle is exerting a pressure downward which is not allowing the water to move out. But if you open the seal cap of the bottle and then remove the tape again, what happens is that water will move out, as the pressure which was applied by the air is now removed. Similarly, air exerts pressure in all directions. So if you place a balloon in a bottle and blow it, so the neck of the balloon is tight at the edges of the bottle. So if you pull the balloon, the bottle will also be picked up. So this proves that air is exerting pressure in all direction, which helps in which results in the lifting up of the bottle. So this is how air is very important for your life, for our life support, for every living being, and air has different property. Similarly, the water is also essential for our life. We require water for drinking, cooking food, extinguishing fire, bathing, washing clothes, etc. So the water available around us is in the form of river, ocean, and the major form is that we get the water from the rainfall. But the water which we get from the rainfall is not pure, because it is as it contains dirt, dust also there. So there are many impurities which are seen in water. These impurities are like the insoluble impurities which are seen directly into the water, soluble impurities which we are not able to see in the water, and the last one is disease causing germs. there are some microbes also present in the water which causes diseases. So it is very essential to remove those impurities. So first of all, removal of insoluble impurities. We can remove the insoluble impurities by sedimentation and decantation. So in sedimentation, we take a water in a beaker and then stir it and let it to settle down. So the all the solid particles present in the liquid will settle down. Then by decantation, we pour out the liquid from the jar into a different beaker, and the solid remains on the bottom of that beaker. So this is how we separate the insoluble impurities. Next is by the filtration. By using a filter paper, we can make a cone and then pouring the water into it. So the pores of the filter paper will not allow the solid particles to move out. So this will not allow solid particles to move out, and the water will move out from the filter paper. So this is how we filter the solid particles present in the water. Removal of soluble impurities is done by distillation. So this is a method in which we in distillation way the impure water is heated till it starts the boiling. After boiling it, the water evaporates and the impurities are remain inside the flask here, inside the flask. So the water evaporated now goes to the condenser where it is kept cool by the water circulating, cooling water. So now the water vapor again converts into liquid form and are collected in a different flask. So this is a distilled water, and this is the most purest form of water, and this is, it does not contain any kind of germ. This water can be used in science experiment, medicines and car batteries. So similarly we have drinking water available, but that drinking water also contains many impurities, so we need to purify that water also. So purification of drinking water is done by three steps: sedimentation, filtration and chlorination. So first step is sedimentation. In this step, water is collected in large open tank and is left undisturbed for few days, so that the all the particles, solid particles present will settle down in the bottom, and air and sunlight kills all the harmful bacteria present. So for a few days, if the water is placed there, all the harmful bacteria will be killed by sunlight, and the solid particles will settle down at the bottom. Then the second step is the filtration. In filtration, the water is filtered out through a clean sand bed to remove finer suspended particles. Similar to the filtration which we discussed before, similar to that, filtration of the water is done here, so that the solid particles remain outside of the filter. Then the filtrate, that is the pure water, is collected. And last step is the chlorination, and in this step the water is disinfected with a very small quantity of chlorine gas to kill the bacteria, so that all the microorganism, bacteria which are present in the water, if there are some remaining, that will be killed by the process of chlorination. So this is how we purify the drinking water. Other methods are also there to purify water, like boiling the water for the 10 to 12 minutes, and by filtering the drinking water, or adding a potassium permanganate crystals to kill the germ. So this is how we use to purify the water. So this is how your water and air supports your life. Thank you.